Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say welcome to you all. This is live from Long Island, New York. Today we're going to be talking about reclaiming your future, a guide to debt consolidation solutions, here with our expert, tax resolution specialist, uh, Agnes Amisano from NY Tax Resolutions. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to get right into it and get started after this. Hi, Agnes. How are you doing?
So, you should say something to me today.
I should, right? Hi, Agnes. How are you? How are you doing? For a second, I thought I had said something, but sometimes it doesn't come over, right? How are you doing? What's going on? Welcome back.
You should say something specific today.
Okay, specific today. What is happening? Today's not March 8th. Happy International Women's Day. I don't know. Tell me.
Thank you very much for remembering.
It's funny. I run this website and we talk all the time about the different things that happen every day. So there's always an occasion or something that pops up. So it's very interesting that you're saying that. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies especially, I want to say thank you so very much for your contributions to making our world a better place, calming a lot of us down and helping us to, stop being so crazy half of the time. Because that's what guys are. If it wasn't for women, we would probably still be living in caves and chasing beasts. Thank you so very much. International Women's Day. So, hi, Agnes.
Holiday.
It's not that big, but it's here, right? It's one of those things where we talk about it, especially in the last few years, because we've really started to understand, how we're going to set up equity and equality amongst the genders. And so while I know a lot of people will be like, what are you talking about? Is that your specific topic? It's important every now and then to acknowledge. And ladies, thank you so very much. We're going to have a wonderful, wonderful month of commemorating International Women's Month. All right.
On behalf of all the women, thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yes, that's really what it is. It's more like you're welcome, because you thank you for making us, thank you for being our friend. So we're going to be talking about a guide to debt solutions today, debt consolidation solutions. And Agnes, I see how this fits right into your role as a tax resolution specialist, in that if you are assisting a business or an individual to try to get their charges reduced from the IRS, that it's great to show, I would assume, that they are also actively involved in reducing their debt and becoming more financially responsible about their money. Yes?
See, this is yes, that's exactly what you're right. What you're saying, but one of my tasks that when I'm coming into a business to help my clients, it's not only with taxes. Usually, if they are having problem with taxes when it comes to the business, they or one doesn't pay, even individual doesn't pay their taxes. It's not because they want to fall behind. This is just too big of a consequence just to say, I'm not going to pay it this time. They're also having problem with other bills. So a couple of years ago, I had a business that we just decided to close it down because it wasn't producing much, and then in the long run, it was really as society is changing and other needs are, other things are available on the internet. So that particular company was preparing events, but there's a lot of like web whiners right now. They are replacing and are much more cost effective. So that was that particular business. So we took it off his bills. But now actually I run into the help with personal bills. And I have to tell you, things change over the years. That's why I decided to talk about it, because I was not aware of those changes. Um, I mean, every company that especially now, you have on TV debt relief. There is or you people being flooded by ads that, oh my goodness, I can reduce my bills of 20,000, $30,000 and everything sounds great. It's like, give me the number. I'm going to call them right now. What is the application? I'm going to do this. You go to the application, they take you to not to the site where you can apply, and suddenly you get $20,000 to reduce your bills. They will take you to the site where you call the company who will charge you for reducing your bills. So now I would like to clear up that what usually looks too good to be true. It is too good to be true. So there are different ways to take care of bills. Number one, sit down and say, what am I going to do? Maybe I'm overspending. That's number one. We have to admit to our mistakes. So cut down on everything. But when you are drowning in debt, this is the last thing that you're thinking about, right? So the first thing that you want to do usually, from my point of view, from professional point of view, I make a list: who, how, when, percentages. There are late fees and percentages, right?
Yes.
So the best idea will be get the credit card that is interest free and transfer all the debts there. Guess what? They will let you do it just to a certain extent. Let's say 50, 60,000 in debt, you cannot transfer all of that to your credit card interest free. The bank is not that silly. Okay, we will help you, but not that much. And borrowing, there is also consolidations loan. You have a house, you can borrow, right? Okay, you borrow, but at what percentage? If I'm gonna borrow 100,000, now what is the percentage I'm going to pay? How much that 100,000 will cost me? Is it really worth it to do that because I have, let's say, 60,000 in bills? I'm going to pay that off. I'm going to put that money aside. Okay, I will deserve vacation. You spend the remaining balance. Now you're having 100,000 that's going to cost you another 10,000. So 2 plus 2 comes out 8. You know, it's it's not worth it. Although again, we're being flooded with emails, with texts. Oh, you have a house. Take the equity, take the money, and you go and you're falling in debt again. Now we are all always afraid that when we're gonna have late fees, missed payments, our credit will suffer, right?
Right.
Guess what happens when you are calling one of those companies that offers you to consolidate your bills or reducing your bills?
I would assume right away they run a credit check on you, and therefore, then it means I know that if you run a credit check, then and if it's bad, it keeps on getting worse. Is that what you're going at?
That's the list of the problems of a taxpayer of a person who needs help. Because number one, it doesn't happen as we will think. Okay, they will tell you they will start beautifully. That's one of my clients actually find out. She was ecstatic. Okay, well, you own $50,000. Fantastic. We will reduce that. Yay! I'm saving $25,000, right? Let's do this. Plus our fees $15,000.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot.
So now what are you saving? 10 grand. That's number one. $10,000, it's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But that's where the trouble begins because my client actually didn't wait till last minute till she was behind bills. She was having problems. So that's why she's still looking, she was having problem making monthly payments, and it was struggle. There is no extra money for anything else. You cannot live like that. You cannot just work, pay bills, work. It's going to get miserable very quickly. So she was
Right.
looking for some kind of resolution without borrowing money, without getting in debt further. So what happened? Okay, so you have $10,000. Then they wait. They have what they use it, a calculated weight. Calculated weight meaning they wait till the bill will be charged off. So we're talking 6 months down the road. Okay, that my client is not paying her bills because strategically wage off, and then that particular company will be dealing with collection company. Collection companies are always easier to deal with than the person that you or the company that you have to pay bills to.
Okay.
But what happens during those 6 months?
You get a lot of calls. You get nagged. You get horrible things on your credit report, I would assume.
Credit score goes down automatically. Your credit score goes down automatically after 2 months of not paying, goes 200, 250, 250 points down. So your credit is it's suffering as it is. It will suffer. No matter what, it will suffer. So instead paying that was the resolution that I came up for my client. Okay, well, let's start calling because your credit's going to suffer no matter what. Calls for several months and hiding from the creditors. That's not life. That's going to bring so much stress upon you. So let's address that from the get-go and call the creditors. She didn't have a lot of money, so we start approaching from the smallest amount. And guess what? Some of them, they just knock down some interest without big problems, some late fees without the problem, and we get rid of it. Some of them, they give her very low payments. We were with large credit cards, we just close the accounts, which again, it will have reflection on your credit report as well, because when you're closing accounts, it will reflect on your credit report, but it's always easier instead trying to make minimum payments. The $10,000 on your credit of minimum payments, 30 years, and you're paying 20,000 more than the principal. So you have to make up your mind, right? You have to make up your mind. But at least creditors will look at you. Okay, well, you are making payments till now. We didn't have problems with you. So you know what? We're going to help you out. And they were actually extremely approachable. Because when I make a phone call, it everything went very smoothly. With one phone, close 3 credit cards, stop interest, stop late fees, and I was able to put her on low, manageable monthly payments. Isn't it a big help? So
So
this way, so $10,000 stays, and each payment is actually decreasing the amount. Isn't it wonderful?
no, that's exactly what should happen, right? So what that is the best case scenario you figured out for them. The worst case scenario is what exactly? How badly can this go if you do it the wrong way?
Oh my goodness! Can you imagine? Actually, like, look, for some people works, right? That years ago, when I dealt with my other client, the companies that they were offering help will gather all the bills and make monthly payments. They will settle the bill. You
Yeah.
can get a settlement. Let's say you own $3,000, you will settle for 1,500 in 3 payments. There is such a thing as well. Your credit will suffer, but at this point, anything you do, your credit will suffer. You just have to decide how badly you wanna ruin your credit.
Or you want to get rid of the problem so that your state of mind can be free so you can keep going. I remember a long time ago when I had too many credit cards coming out of college, because that's what happened. They gave you a bunch of credit cards while you were in college, right? And so when I got out, I had all this debt, and I was like, oh no, 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 I can't. And we basically put it all together, and I made one payment a month, and it went to, I think, 3 or 4 different cards. And yes, it was reduced. And then, I guess that at the time I was in my 20s. So by the time I hit 30, it had cleared up. Like that stuff was off of my credit report. So I understand what you're saying. But you're saying these new versions, it's so much more money. And that was the other thing. I think there were a lot more regulations back then on what can happen with a credit card credit consolidation company. Now it seems like there's so many other versions of whatever it is that they do. Am I right?
Yeah, that's what it was years ago, that they consolidated all the bills and they make, let's say, $50 to each creditor a month. So they bother you because they knew that you're doing something about it. Now they will actually sit and wait. They was like, okay, give me that much money a month. They're gonna have dedicated account. Give me $700 a month, and from that 700, they will sit and wait until they accumulate enough money to deal with the creditor. Meanwhile, you're still dealing with all the phone calls and the creditors like, oh, I don't know what you're doing. What you're telling me? Okay, you tell me that you retain someone to help you, but worth it, and it costs so much money. What kind of help is this? My question is, what kind of help is this? This is ridiculous. So if you don't want to hire anyone, do it yourself. Pick up that phone and talk to them. You can either make monthly payments, low monthly payments, close the account so this way the interest and late fees are not being accumulated and you're knocking down the balance, or settle for 48% or 45%, then knock down the balance. It's a lot. It's really a lot. And they'll give you payment plan to pay it off.
Yeah.
One thing, don't think that you can deal with all of your accounts this way. Only unsecured accounts, bank loans, anything that is secured, equity loans, car loans, they don't fall into that category.
Oh, okay.
Refinance, but you cannot consolidate. So that's you have to remember. There is also another thing, that when you are really in a deep, deep, deep debt, people thinking about bankruptcies, which is great. Sometimes it helps, but there's two things about taxes. You can charge off IRS debt as well, tax
Okay.
debt, not the last 3 years.
Oh,
So
okay.
my advice, if you own taxes, pay off first the most 3 years of the recent taxes, because if anyone is planning bankruptcy, the last 3 years you're going to have to pay it.
Okay. No matter what. Okay.
No matter what, just in case, because that's 3 years. IRS can come up with something, they will find something extra charges, right to collect that.
Okay. Okay.
And there's another thing: when you are settling your debts, um, nothing is for free. Meaning, your cancel date, debt, it will, not all the companies, but some companies will send you 1099-C form, and you will have to claim that as extra income on your income tax
Okay.
when you're filing.
Okay. Okay.
So I thought we're going to educate everyone, because there is not that common. There's just a lot of. That's what my client did. She got so excited about all the advertisings. Like, oh my goodness, this is going to help, but whatever you do is detrimental to your credit score. It's going to hurt your credit score. And also, you have to ask yourself. That's thinking about bankruptcy. But I asked her a question: how long you can stay without buying something, like for how long you can say your credit score is not important to you, 2 or 7 years. Because when you're going through settlements, late fees, and things like that with your closing accounts, 2 years you can build up your credit. After bankruptcy, for 7 years you're going nowhere.
Okay. 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 So yeah, it's a matter of, and young people, I think you should pay attention to this. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, especially if you are young. That's exactly what I'm saying. There is a difference between 2 years and 7 years. 7 years feels like an eternity. 2 years, definitely something you can take care of and take. Yeah, it means you might have to stop eating Uber Eats every single day. It may mean you have to maybe give up that apartment and go stay with your parents for a little while. But the idea is that if you are able to do, one of the great books is The Road Less Traveled, where he teaches the gratification, the delayed gratification is a way to be able to say to yourself, listen, I will do this or behave in this way for 2 years that is limiting, that will eventually get me something greater at the end. Because honestly, 2 years versus 7 years, figure it out. It sounds great. Oh, I'm just do bankruptcy. But if you do a 2 year consolidation, it might be a little bit harder. It might be a little more stringent, but you get it done in 2 years. And now you're allowed to move on with your life, or at least start moving on with your life. I think it's really important. You think you have time, but you don't. Choose the harder, sometimes the more difficult, delayed gratification way of getting things done. That makes sense? Does that make sense, Agnes?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it really, after going through a situation like this, like I said, credit counseling, it's extremely important. If you don't want to, a lot of people will say, like, I don't need anyone to tell me what to do with my money. Um, all good, all good. But if you find yourself in a hole, things that they don't have to, that you don't need. There are things that we need and there are things that we want. Maybe the things that we want can wait sometimes. Plus, well, there are people and people. For some people, showing their material possessions or owning material possessions is very important. Um, and there's Julius Caesar when carried throughout the whole city, being carried by his best doctors, just covered with his body covered just with a sheet and one arm hanging down. Do you know why?
Tell me. I remember this one, but I don't. Tell me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He wants people to see that even best doctors cannot stop that population, that he is going. I believe he wanted to be naked, that he came in with the way he is, that he's going that way, that he's not taking everything, and that arm or hanging down, if I remember correctly, was to show that he came with nothing and he's leaving with nothing. So material possessions are not that
Right. And not
important.
necessarily. Hey, would you like to step? Because I heard your doorbell. Do you want to get that, or are we good?
No, there were just messages coming wishing me all the best for today. Believe it or not, all my nephews and a male part of the family, they are sending a lover to everyone, to every woman, saying all the best. I told you in Europe it's a big thing. The women have
Oh,
lunches at work. They have bonuses. They receive flowers, chocolates. I mean, like, it's a big holiday. It's bigger than Valentine's Day.
yeah, really bigger than Valentine's Day in Europe.
Seriously, bigger
Wow.
than Valentine's Day. Absolutely.
Wow, 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 wow. I had no idea. But yes, it's getting bigger and bigger here. And yes, there are lots of I know for sure here in the town, there are quite a few events going off today, and some that are going to be going on for this weekend, like dinners, lunches, bruncheons that are basically like, hey, international. And then some of them get pushed closer to the end of the month because people want to talk about it now and then have a bigger thing at the end of the month. But yes,
No,
that's lovely.
think about it. For Valentine's Day, you just have to take care of the closest loved one. It's more for lovers, right? Women's Day, this is not only your wife or your significant other, this is your daughter.
It reminds me more of
This is your
Mother's
mother,
Day.
this is your aunt. This a lot, all the women in your life,
Mhm.
they
Yeah,
have to be addressed. Yes.
yeah. So it's a very interesting thing. Yes, we have a um a, a a client who is a florist, and Valentine's Day. Yeah, it's a big day for flowers on that day, but it is nothing compared to Mother's Day. It is such a huge
Oh yeah.
thing because everybody's got a mother, right? Most of us, right? So it's very, very different. All right, so
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
so how do we talk about debt consolidation? So definitely, you're saying a shorter time. Yes, it might be a little more of a pinch, but it will be over faster. That makes sense to you. And then you're saying that obviously you can put a bunch of different debts together, but not everything. Some debts, no, you're just going to have to deal with them by yourself and set them one aside at a time. Uh, what about long-term financial planning? Should someone be doing like long-term financial planning in order to get these done? Like, can they sit down and actually, are you doing that with them, Agnes? Like sitting down and saying, okay, you make X amount per year. How much of this can you actually give to the debt, et cetera, et cetera?
Oh, absolutely. With a lot of my clients, I sit down and we made those phone calls for my clients, because for some it's too nerve-wracking to deal with creditors. And there are they are much nicer nowadays, because nowadays, what, American population is over 1 trillion thousand in uh, credit card debts. So they want to recoup something instead of nothing, right?
Right.
I'm always financing your home and paying off the debts, because if you have a good mortgage rate, why would you ruin that? No one will make me refinance my home myself. And plus, you adding additional $10,000 to the debt, to the mortgage, when you are refinancing. So, like, borrowing from one to pay the other, it's really, you're not helping yourself. It's momentary relief, because when you turn around, you're adding thousands of dollars to what you are owning right now.
Right.
So, personally, I would never advise anyone to do that. It's dealing it individually. My favorite is dealing individually with every creditor, and getting the best deal possible. Seriously, like,
Okay.
again, I know it's dealing with debts and you falling behind, your credit score will suffer no matter what. It's only up to the person who's in debt, how far you're gonna let it go. How far, in sooner you finish with paying off the debt, if you settle, or you're going to make a deal, 3 4 months, you're done with that particular debt. Okay, and then from that moment you start rebuilding your life, instead sitting and waiting. Because do you know that those debt relief companies, they'll give you plan for 4 years, 4 years. So that means some of the debts, they are not going to be addressed for at least 3 years. Can you take 3 years of phone calls? You're gonna have a lien on your house.
Yeah.
You're gonna have money to. Oh, there is another thing that I almost forgot. No one tells taxpayers about that. If you have, let's say, you're dealing with Bank of America, right? And you have a credit card from Bank of America, you're going to settle through third party that particular credit card, or you gonna set the settlement, or write off the discharge. You know what the Bank of America
Now they're
will
gonna
do?
look. Yeah, they're
They
gonna be
will
looking at
cover that bill, and they will
what.
close your account.
Ooh. Wow. Okay.
Not too many people knows that. Not too many people will know that.
Yeah.
So you dealing with a lot. There's a lot of payments going straight. Like, if anyone is like me, there's a lot of payments going straight from my account, being paid for, so I don't have to write checks.
Right.
There are other things you have. You have accounts, everything will be closed. And then you have other problems, because you have to go to another bank, open new accounts. How about your paycheck or social security going to your account? Now you have bigger problems.
Mm.
So hiding the whole moral of the show is, deal. Don't be afraid to deal with your creditors. They will help you. Creditors are much nicer to deal with. Don't be afraid. Don't just if you know, like my client, she didn't fall behind. So they was like, oh, I'm sorry you're going through this. So we're going to help you right away. And they give her better deal than if she would have waited 3 4 months. So, they were okay, we are here to help. And she had couple credit cards with the bank that she's dealing with. Her
Right.
accounts are safe. Nothing is going to happen. is being charged 15,000.
Right. I think the rule of thumb here is that even though, yes, they want their money, they want their money. So if you say to them, listen, I'm going to be a slow payer or whatever it is, I'm going to owe you this on the back end, it's better to communicate rather than not say anything, and then you're in much deeper trouble, and then it's an issue. So I think what you're saying is communicate with people, let them know what your issues are. I've got this problem, this is what I'm doing, and then what can you do for me, right? Or
Absolutely.
hire someone like you to actually get you the help.
Well, it's a little bit better because this is the thing. They will approach you from different ways. Okay, so we will give you okay, we will lower your monthly payments until you get back on your feet. What
Right.
that's going to do to you, though?
Yeah, it's stopping some of the problem, but you're still going to have the problem. Or maybe say, is it possible you can waive some of the interest or put it on the back end so we pay it later on? But bottom line is, yeah, this is an issue.
Close the account. Close the account. Close the account. Because that $10,000 that you own, it will, instead of paying for 40 years, you're going to be paying for 55 years.
Mhm.
And you will never out of that debt. If you really want to start over, just don't be afraid to really think. You don't have to make a decision right at the first phone call. Find out your option. Google it. Hire someone like me to, don't pay $15,000 for it. Just go. This is really, doesn't take that much time. It takes courage, because for someone who is down and afraid to talk to people, specifically to creditors, I get it. It's very scary because sometimes I'm a responsible person, just like my client. She was, listen, I always pay my bills. I said, it's okay. Things happen. Things happened in life.
Right.
Like I always say, my motto is, there's no judgment. Things happen in life. That's why people like me exist, to help. We all been in certain situations. Just don't be afraid to reach out for help, but don't let anyone take advantage of you either.
Right. Right. And yes, sometimes I forget about that. No judgment.
Odds in a paper.
There's no judgment.
But
Yeah.
yes, no
Yeah.
judgment.
Okay. Great. So yeah.
Life is life.
So what I think I'm hearing you saying is, number one, you definitely got to communicate. Again, love, death, or taxes, in all of the things, we definitely got to communicate. Number one. Then, like, think about, all the things that you're doing that you could reduce doing in order to reduce the amount of time that it takes for you to take care of these things. You know what I mean? And sometimes it means, yes, you've got to delay gratification to take care of those things. But then also be smart about this. Be really smart about it. Look at it and say, if I'm going to do it over 4 years and have an issue with people still calling me during those 4 years, or even putting liens against my stuff, or taking away my car, or whatever it is, simply because I didn't take the shorter, more difficult way, please, sometimes you have to definitely think about getting it done quickly and taking care of it. But just be smart about it. You don't want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on the back end when you could, yes, it might be tight, it might be difficult, but you can get it done in the beginning. Yeah, you may have to, miss that concert that you were hoping to go to, or cut down some of the Starbucks and grind it at home instead. But I think
It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to come to any of that. Not too drastic. Just think about what can be done, and sitting down and go making a plan, and actually holding on for a few months. Few months can be miracle for some, and people don't see it, because sometimes when you're really depressed, when you're really overwhelmed, you don't think straight. You don't think straight, but there is a light on the end of the tunnel.
You know,
There always is.
that's great advice. Great advice. Thank you so very much, Agnes. Again, it's International Women's Day. I want to say thank you very much. Happy International Women's Day for all of you out there, as well as my co-star, co-host here, Agnes Amisano, who, if you are having issues with your tax resolution problems, you want to go to nytaxresolutions.com and see whether or not Agnes can help you. There is a form right on the front page. You just fill it out. And none of you spammers either. I see you spammers. Someone who actually needs help, go right there and you can put some information into her thing and she can assist you with that. And if you'd just like to come on the show, or you'd like to talk to us about some of the things that we've been talking about on the show, you can definitely do that right here. Send an email to mailbag@lovedeathandtaxes.com, and we will have that conversation as well. I'm Ryan O'Neill Williams. I am here and available for hyperlocalhero.com business. We are pushing with this Google business profile stuff, Agnes. That is the biggest way now to get to the top of the Google search, and that's what we're using it to do, and that's what Hyperlocal Hero is all about. Someone asked me about that last week. They sent me emails like, oh, what do you mean by that? Hyperlocal, what do you mean? Right in this area right here, you can get your business found if you're doing the right thing. All right, so ladies and gents, that is our show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some good tidbits here. Agnes was just flowing with the information. And, you know, I remember that was an issue for me in my mid-20s. Like, you know, you worry about that kind of thing, you know, not having enough money to do what you want to do, worrying whether or not you'll ever be able to buy a house, all of that. But if you can just reduce some of your expenditures at some point, you know, there will be an opportunity. When I bought my house, it was 2008. It was like the perfect opportunity. It was just the right time. And that will happen again. You know, I mean, it seems like it won't, but it can. It can happen again. You just got to look out for those opportunities, right? What do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's everything is obtainable. You just have to think how. You just have to plan.
Yeah. Don't think it's just us boomers who can afford a house, and we're not boomers actually. What are we?
What are we? We're not boomers. We're
not. I think I was an elder millennial at one point. No, Gen X. We're Gen X. That's what we are. Generation X, which is weird.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were like elder Gen X. So it is what it is, man.
Okay, look, I have my AARP card. I'm happy. Okay, so I don't care.
Yeah, I started getting all those. Yeah, I turned 50 last year, and I started getting all these little things. So I was like, what is this now?
Sign up. It's worth it.
It's worth it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care. We'll see you next week. Signing off from Love, Death, and Tax.